Hello, fellow learners and students. Thank you for watching. Today I want to talk about a book that I read that is really helpful for teachers. I think every teacher should read it because it literally just opened my mind to all of these things that I never had considered for teaching. And it doesn't matter what your content area is, this book will just open your mind to specific things that you need to do no matter what you're teaching. And it's called Improving Adolescent Literacy by Douglas Fisher and Nancy Frey. And since this book covers such a wide range of topics and gives practical advice in several different areas, I just want to ask one main question and pull information from the book and from several articles I researched to answer this main question. So the question is, what can we do for students whose literacy skills are underdeveloped? And what can we do to motivate these students to learn? How can we reach out to them and how can we help them? And so we need to consider, as the book was saying, the 6 types of literacy that there are, because each student may be struggling in a different aspect of literacy. So that 6 aspects are reading, writing, speaking, listening, viewing, and representing. So we need to realize that we're dealing with a diverse group of learners who are struggling in different aspects of literacy. And so we need to help their specific needs. For example, struggling readers may have learning disabilities, motivational issues, or they may have just simply been undertaught. I also did some article research and I found a few. One of them's title was 7 Strategies to Teach Students Text Comprehension, despite any content or subject area that it's in. And one of them, the first thing says, monitor comprehension along the way. This way students are aware of what they do understand and what they don't understand, and they can use the appropriate strategies to resolve problems in their comprehension. A second strategy is identifying where the difficulty occurs. You can have students restate the difficult sentences or passages in their own words so they can kind of just break it down and understand it. A third strategy was direct explanation. Teachers just telling students straight up, hey, this is where I see you're struggling, try it this way. Try reading it this way, looking at it from this perspective, kind of just pushing them toward the right direction. A fourth strategy is modeling how to apply the strategy. And then a fifth one is guided practice. And the sixth one is application of the strategy. And then the seventh one is cooperative learning, which involves students working together as partners to understand it or in small groups on clearly defined tasks. Students should work together to understand text, help each other learn and apply these comprehension strategies. And so teachers will strategically put everyone in certain groups. In another article, it was called High School Reading Activities, and some of these activities were also mentioned in the book I read, Improving Adolescent Literacy. But these activities are just practical ideas to get your kids working together, moving and learning. One of them was a class debate. Just pick an issue or a character from the story and have a debate on it. And be sure to set some ground rules first, nobody's fighting each other. Second one, graphic organizers. There's tons of these online where you can, like a piece of paper that would say compare and contrast, and students kind of just list it, or cause and effect, problem solution, or you could use graphic organizers for summarizing, chronology, making predictions, etc., etc. Another one is you could have students construct a test about what you read, have them ask questions, and have the students take each other's tests. You could create a crossword puzzle. So like you would read a book and then you would make a puzzle about it just to review key characters or ideas. You could make a movie poster. This forces students to make connections to the real world. They are, for example, forced to picture the story's characters in order to match them up with a modern day movie star. You could have students create poetry. You could have them just summarize, recognize story structure, generate their questions. That's kind of reiterating what I said before. And then, of course, literature circles where they read, discuss, and respond to a novel. The last article I read that had to do with improving adolescent literacy was 10 ways to cultivate a love of reading in your students, because oftentimes a lack of motivation is the main reason why students don't want to read and don't enjoy comprehension. So the first practical way is to read yourself, because if we encourage them to do it, we ought to be doing it ourselves. If we have a passion for reading, it often just kind of rubs off on them. And secondly, is share your experiences of what you're reading and what you've gained from it, how it's molded and grown you as a person. A lot of times students just don't have that example in home or in school. Somebody that they see really loves reading and has gained something and grown as a person from it. Thirdly is to invite students to socialize around reading, such as creating book clubs or reading groups or literature circles, whatever you want to call it. And fourthly, which I really love this idea, it'd probably work best for elementary or middle school, but I mean, I would love it if they did in high school, honestly. It's called a readathon. You organize a readathon, and it's basically an event where kids can wear PJs to school, bring pillows, and parents supply snacks, and basically the teachers and the administrators of the school will read, and kind of like an all-school day book club. Fifthly, a way to motivate students to read is take a field trip to a bookstore or a library, so they can be surrounded by the books, and maybe they've never even been to a library, and they can see the different categories, and they'll be drawn to, say they're into action. You can say, oh, here's the action books over here, and they'll be able to find what they want to find. Another strategy is to listen to audiobooks with students. Sometimes you'll catch things in audiobooks that you never would have if you're just like reading it on a page, at least me anyway. 7, invite authors to speak at your school. This can greatly impact kids, especially if you do a Q&A where they can ask the author, why did you write this way, or what made you want to talk about this subject anyway. And so that can make it really real and authentic for the students, them seeing, the author of the book. Next, make connections between reading and other issues. Help students see the wider historical and political context of what they're reading. This will enhance their appreciation for whatever they're reading overall. Also, learn about specific needs for specific populations, and then have the students kind of read about it. And then lastly, teach reading strategies, no matter the content area, because the way you read a science book is different than the way you would read a book on grammar or a fictional book. So whatever your content area is, be sure to keep all of the things in mind, keep motivating your students in mind, and keep the different aspects of literacy in mind as you do group activities and individual activities. And with all of this in mind, your children will develop great literacy skills, but it just takes being intentional as a teacher and implementing these different things. So thank you for watching. I hope you gained something from this. Have a great day.